welcome to another weekly recap of Trinidad Bhojpuri words and phrases. In this episode, कैसे बोले necklace हिंदुस्तानी में, शर्मावे और सरमावे, उखरी मूसर से धान कुटे, बुझावल and रात के खाइका. Let's go catch up with Vinay of the Cutlass magazine. Before we begin, on behalf of the KDC and the Cutlass magazine, I extend condolences to our Trinidad Bhojpuri partner, Dr. Visham Pimal, and his family on the passing of his father, Trinidad Pimal. We pray for the soul to be at peace, and our prayers are with the family that they find comfort during this time. Let's get cracking on our Trinidad Bhojpuri words and phrases. Another weekly recap, and we start with Monday's feature, which is so kaise bole necklace Hindustani mein. How do you say necklace in Hindustani? Now, some of the comments received: gale har and not gale har. Har and har very different. So gale har. Rashida Hanif, simply har. A few messaged in with har. Sudhir Sharma, who's in Fiji, gale ka har. Kamal Dev Rai, who's a Bhojpuri speaker in India, gala band. And Devki Ramrup and Raphael Shaw contributed dillery. Mm-hmm. So, Vinay, what say you?
Yeah, so definitely it was nice seeing, the amount of, the input from everybody from various countries. So when we ask kaise bole necklace Hindustani mein, sometimes you would hear older people say necklace, like they had a very particular way of saying it. But if we go back to the Trinidad Bhojpuri word, there's a couple of answers, but the most predominant one is galehar or galekehar. And we have a couple of songs that we can actually reference there. So the first song that I want to mention is Lily John is a popular Trinidadian singer, and people might know her rendition of Saki Idhar Bulati Udhar Chamak Chale Jati. And in that, she says the line, Mere Gale Ke Hara Tuti Gare Angan Mein, which means that her necklace broke and it fell in the courtyard. And so galehar or galekehara, there has some meaning behind the roots there. So gale is your neck, and har or hara is a garland, a necklace, or something strung together.
They really let you borrow this from the jewelry store?
So when you combine those words, galekehar, it's almost like you're saying the garland of your neck or your neck's garland. And when you remove that K connecting word between galekehar, you just have galehar. So it's almost like a shortening of the word there. And one thing I wanted to mention, as people are giving, all of these different options, har does also work as necklace, garland, something strung together. And one reference I would make is in the Anand Yankaran song, Metolaya. Some people know that song, Metolaya. In that song, he says, Pulo ki har, which means a necklace of flowers or a garland of flowers. And then another option that some people did answer when they were replying in the comments, mala. Some people might hear pul ke mala, mung ke mala, mohar ke mala. And again, mala and har or hara are completely synonymous. Necklace, garland, things strung together. People know Jap Mala, for example, Rudra Mala, the Rudra beads strung together. And the most prominent example of a song that I can give is Primiti Beam's very popular Sham Sundar, where she repeats the line, Munge ke mala, munge ke mala. Munge ke mala, which means a necklace of coral.
Moving on to another Trinidad Bhojpuri word. Well, this time we flipped the word. We give you a Bhojpuri word. And we went with the word SHARMAAWAY or SARMAAWAY. Now, it's a very common expression in acting, especially in Bollywood flicks. There's greater emphasis on this expression. But how many of you remember growing up and someone in your family would ask, "Why are you Sharmaway?" So if you and parents had a thing when they had visitors, they would call you to come out and meet so, and you would be so shy. You would hide behind your parents. You'd probably just peep or not come out at all, and they would ask you, "Why are you Sharmaway?" So
Yeah.
Sharmaway or Sarmaway.
Yes, exactly. As you mentioned, Sharmawe or Sarmawe, as we know with Bhojpuri and Hindi, sometimes you have that aspirated H sound in the beginning and sometimes you don't. It kind of is based on dialect as well as, your experience with Hindi versus Bhojpuri. Typically in Bhojpuri, we have the lack of the aspirated H, and you find that aspirated H in more standard Hindi. But yeah, Sharmawe or Sarmawe just means to feel ashamed, to feel bashful, to feel embarrassed. And that's typically the context. Why is Sharmawian for? For me, I know that when I would get called on the spot to recite my times tables or sing a song, my mom would say, "Why is Sharmawian for?" And so you
Mm.
definitely use it in that context. And when you look at the word, you see the root of saram or sharam and then awe. Now, that awe typically is the suffix or the ending that comes with a verb. And then the root, saram, sharam, that just means bashfulness, embarrassment, shame. And so when you add that awe to turn it into a verb, it means to feel ashamed, to feel bashful, to feel embarrassed. So
Mhm.
just note that it's used as a verb there.
And if you were to place Be in front of Sharam and you get Be Sharam, that would mean
Yes, it would mean a lack of sharam or shameless. So a lack of embarrassment, a lack of shame. And one thing I would recommend is people go back and check out the very popular long time Babla and Kanchan song, Kahe Sharmai. And they use a more Hindi form, they use Sharmaye instead of Sharmawe. But in that song, you will hear them saying Kahe Sharmai, Kahe Sharmai, which means why are you feeling embarrassed, why are you feeling bashful.
we move on to our Trinidad Bhojpuri phrase or expression. Okhri musar se dhan kute. Okhri musar se dhan kute. So, Vinay, let's do this word for word. Let's go. Okhri.
Yeah, so Okri is what some people might know in English as a mortar. And the way that I would describe that, it's sort of like a container or a bowl that you would keep, your spices in, seasoning in, or, your raw rice, so your dhan. And then, continuing with the other words.
Musar.
Mooser is what people in English refer to as a pestle, and that's the longest sort of blunt-shaped object. It looks kind of like a club. Some archival footage of an older lady, in her gangari and her ohani, kutaying some dan, and you see in her hand she has the mooser or the pestle, and she's pounding into the okri or the mortar, which is the container at the bottom.
Mhm. So, okhri musar se.
Now, when you have that suffix se, that just means with. So, tum se is with you, for example. So, se just means with.
Dhan.
Dhan is raw rice that still has the husk on it. So, you have not unhusked that rice yet, and it's still raw.
Kute.
Kute means to, some people might know kute in the Hindi meaning dog, but we're talking about Bhojpuri here. So kute is to pound something or crush it. And as you saw in that video, she is pounding the dan or kutting the dan.
Right. So you put all of that together. Okhri musar se dhan kute.
So that means pound the raw rice with the mortar and pestle.
Mhm. And I think a lot of folks got that one right.
Yeah.
And maybe because they're familiar with a particular wedding ritual.
Yeah, so some people, when they go to a Hindu wedding, on the night where they're doing hardi or patching lawa, which is where pacha sakya or 5 ladies will come and they'll all put their hands on the okri And actually, they'll all put their hands on the MOOSAR, which is the pestle. They'll have the DHAAN or the raw rice in the UKHREE mortar, which is the container, and they'll be kutaying it, and they'll BUJHAAWAY a chadar, which is a sheet. They'll spread the sheet, use it to cover them, and they will rotate in a clockwise manner while they're kutaying the DHAAN. And that has a certain symbolic meaning. It could have to do with prosperity, because we know that DHAAN is involved with prosperity and harvest and wanting to wish a couple well in their union. We all know the role that DHAAN or lawa plays in a Hindu wedding. And then it is also a form of, entertainment, because I'm sure you've seen those Pacha Sakya, or five ladies dance while they're doing it. But yeah, that's a very nice custom there.
Now we move on to another Trinidad Bhojpuri word, BUJHAAWAL. BUJHAAWAL. So, according to the caption I posted, and we have this thing that we say here in Trinidad, break and beach. So, you're supposed to be in a particular place, but somehow you're not there. You escaped and you went somewhere you're not supposed to be. So for example, school. So you cut school and they say you're break and beach. So, if you would ask the question, well, what BUJHAAWAL you have for break and beach? Or if you have children, and many of you have probably encountered this, so you have kids and you ask them to take care of some particular chore, so wash your wares or clean your room, and they don't do it, and you ask what BUJHAAWAL you have for not doing what you're supposed to do, and they always have a really good one. So BUJHAAWAL, Trinidad Bhojpuri words. Vinay, what's a root word? BUJHAAWAL.
Yeah, the root word of BUJHAAWAL is bhuj or bhuja. And so bhuja or bhuj means understanding, perceiving, perception, guessing. So when you extend that word and you get BUJHAAWAL, it means an excuse. And that is contextually within our Trinidad Bhojpuri that it means excuse. Typically in standard Hindi, you might hear BUJHAAWAL with a more V sound or sometimes the W. And in standard Hindi, that translates to a puzzle, a riddle, a type of guessing. And so the context there with BUJHAAWAL meaning excuse is that you're trying to say to throw someone off your path, to confuse them, to kind of confound them. It's an excuse that's meant to, be an almost like a riddle for someone, to throw them off your path so they don't know exactly what your reasoning is. And some people, I think, might have referred to the standard Hindi bahana, also meaning excuse, but we know that there's obviously the difference between Bhojpuri and Hindi, and BUJHAAWAL is very much used for excuse in our dialect.
Well, adults have quite a lot of BUJHAAWAL as well, not just kids. All right, so we move on to our Friday feature, and we try to keep it food related on a Friday, and so we went with the words RAAT ke KHAIKAA. RAAT ke KHAIKAA. So RAAT we know, KHAIKAA some remembered because we featured this in a previous episode. RAAT ke KHAIKAA.
Yes, exactly. And I hope on a Friday you all have a very special RAAT ke KHAIKAA. So KHAIKAA just means food. RAAT or Ratia just means night. So when you put them together, that connecting K, RAAT ke KHAIKAA, it literally translates to night's food, food of the night, food for night. But when we put all that together, we know contextually it means dinner or supper.
Right. Now, I just want to acknowledge some comments. So Sudhir is in Fiji. And I really like this because there's so many different versions of the word. So he had Ratia ke khaibe. They also say Raat ke khabe or Ratwa ke khaibe. They have Raat, Ratia, and Ratwa. Nalini, who lives in Suriname, provided Raat ke khab, khabe, or khaileb. So, and that's really good because this way we're exposed to Hindustani outside of Trinidad. So we see how the words are used, and you have slight adjustments, but they basically mean the same thing. So if you ever should travel to any of these places and you hear these words being used, so that takes care of another week of Trinidad Bhojpuri words and phrase. Now, before we wrap up here, I should say that I've noticed some new persons jumping on to the Trinidad Bhojpuri feature, and this is great. So we welcome your contributions. All right. And if there's a word you think that we should use, or you'd like to suggest a word or a phrase, please drop us a line, and we'll be more than happy to research and to include as we move along. Also, so the purpose of these recap videos really is so that we have a clear understanding of pronunciation, of the spelling, contextual usage. Again, we are in touch with people outside of Trinidad, so we also learn more about the use of Hindustani there. We work out the pronunciation, and this is a learning feature as well for myself, for Vinay, and for so many people as well. So even if you don't get the correct answer immediately on the daily posts, this is the purpose of the weekly recap. So we just bring all the words together and we have a nice little discussion. All right. So on that note, if you would like to get in touch with Vinay at the Cutlass magazine, here's how you do so.
Yes, you can just follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Cutlass Magazine, or feel free to send me a Sundays or a message, cutlasspodcast@gmail.com.
Okay, so we'll catch up with you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and Phrase is a KDC production in collaboration with the Cutlass magazine and Caribbean Hindustani. Catch you next week.